Welcome back, everybody. Got something a little different for you guys tonight. This isn't actually technically an unboxing video because I have taken this gun out of the box and looked at it and fondled it and played with it. But I wanted to do a kind of show off first thoughts video on this gun. If you guys are not new to the internet, if you've been around for a little while, you probably know just from this box what this is. This is a Hudson H9 9mm handgun. Before I open the box and we start talking about it though, I kind of wanted to address the elephant in the room. A lot of you guys are probably going to wonder, why would you buy a Hudson when they just went out of business? They were having all sorts of quality control problems and they just went bankrupt, so if you have a problem with your gun, you can't get it fixed and all this. And I completely understand that. I knew that going into it. I knew they were bankrupt. I knew that some customers had experienced quality issues. But I wanted one of these guns ever since they first came out. I thought it was a really cool design. I like the 1911 a lot. I like striker-fired handguns a lot. I actually don't own, or didn't own before this, a all-steel handgun. And I mean, there were just several reasons to want this gun. And then when they went out of business, that kind of moved it up my list a lot because I had a lot of other things that were above this on my list of things I want. But because I knew these were going to dry up on the market, and if I wanted one 2, 3, 4 years from now, I was going to pay triple the price for a used one that might not even be functioning on Gunbroker or something. So when I saw the opportunity to get one, especially because after the company went bankrupt, prices did drop, you know, $100 to $200 or so, depending on where you look. I was like, I have to do it. I have to get one. So here's the gun in the box. It's a really nice box. If you guys haven't seen any of the other videos, like the in-range video or whatever, I'm not going to talk much about the box. It is kind of a nice box, though. It's very well put together. And I personally don't really care much about packaging that guns come in. For me, personally, I would rather the company spend more money on the gun than on the packaging. If I can get just a simple cardboard box or something like that, that's totally fine with me. But sometimes a cool box is kind of nice. So here's the gun as it comes in the box here. We'll just take it out real quick. Let's try to do this through the viewfinder. Some nice high density foam. It holds the pistol actually really well in there. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and just show you that it is indeed clear. And we'll go through some of the other features of the box. You can take this top piece of foam out. You've got your manual in here, which is a really nice looking manual. And in the front cover, I had this Hudson H9 sticker that I'm probably going to end up putting on my gun safe. I don't know. 5 years from now, having the gun just like this with the sticker and the manual and all the things is going to make it way more valuable. But I probably won't ever sell this gun unless, you know, like it's an emergency or something. Not a big fan of getting rid of guns. I've only gotten rid of one in my life. Maybe I'll tell that story later in another video. But I don't know. We'll see if I put the sticker on something or not. Either way, underneath that you've got your stupid cable lock piece of crap and your 2 extra 15-round magazines. It does come with one in the gun, so for a total of 3 magazines, which is kind of nice. I always like to see a company include an extra magazine, you know, more than just the 2 or 1 in some cases that some guns come with. More is always better, and especially for a gun in this price range, I think that was a nice touch to add the 3rd magazine. So get that out of the way and start talking about the gun. First impressions and some things that I know from my YouTube University research on the gun. Takes a proprietary 15-round magazine. Doesn't have any numbers on the side to tell you how many rounds are there when, you know, that hole, for example, has a round, but that one doesn't. I don't really care about that. I don't look at that personally, but whatever. And you can see there's already a little bit of wear there from just me playing with the gun a little bit. Again, not a big deal as long as the magazine stays in its correct shape and feeds well. I don't care if it gets scuffed up or not. Polymer base plate, Hudson logo right there. Pretty nifty. That's pretty neat.
How neat is that? That's pretty neat.
The gun itself, as I said, all steel, so steel frame, steel slide. Something I noticed that I actually was surprised by and I didn't expect is this what would be the mainspring housing if this was a 1911. This is actually G10, same material as the grips, made out of G10, not steel. I was kind of surprised by that personally. Also, I'm not really seeing any roll pins or anything like that, like to take this part off or to take this, what would be the grip safety if this thing had a grip safety, which thank God it doesn't. I'm not really seeing roll pins or anything like that, so it's kind of a cool touch. I'm not sure how they put it together, and I'm not going to take it all the way apart to find out. It's got serrations on the top to reduce glare, which is nice. Good set of sights. Rear sight is serrated with just the U notch, which I prefer a square to a U, personal preference. And then this front sight is actually a Trichicon night sight. It's one of their like HD style night sights with the brightly colored ring, and then a tritium vial in that. I believe it's yellow tritium. I could be wrong about that. I haven't shot this at all, actually. Haven't played with it very much at night. But it is tritium, which I do like. I wish they had done a 3-dot set with 3 tritium vials and 3 white circle outlines around them. Personal preference, but they are very nice sights. Let's see if I can get a good sight picture for you guys. They're nice and tight, so there's not a lot of air in there for the sight, you know, so you don't have it canted off to one side and you shoot a little left even though your sights are lined up. It's got ambi slide release, slide lock. Now I will say that using my left hand on the right side slide lock, trying to lock the slide open, it doesn't always want to stay locked open. And I don't know why that is. Use on the right side, it'll do it every time. On the left side, sometimes it, or left hand I should say, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. That kind of bothers me, but I'm right-handed, so not a huge deal. Plus, most lefties out there, see, I for whatever reason, it's just not doing it. But the right side, it does. So, most lefties are probably used to using the right-handed version anyway, or just slingshotting the slide. So, that still is kind of a bummer for me. Not sure if it's just my gun or not. Can't really send it back to Hudson to find out, but hey, whatever. Very nicely machined, though. We've got the checkering here on the front strap. Nice undercut under the trigger guard. Magazine release is nice and positive, and those empty magazines, here I'm going to hold it horizontal, they pop out pretty good. If I hold it vertically at all, they come out pretty well. Especially if you have the slide down, they shoot out like crazy. Seems like a very well built gun. It's very heavy. It's not a light gun, but again, it's all steel, so you have a rail down here with one slot for a light. And if you look here, you can see the recoil spring is much lower than the Hudson, or I'm sorry, than the barrel on the Hudson. For example, for comparison here, I'll grab my carry gun and unload it. This is my Glock 19, just for comparison. So you can see there, and no, I'm not pointing this at myself, you can see how much lower that sits. Got some sweat on the end of my gun there. It's kind of hot in the basement right now. And I've been doing some work down here trying to set up my new studio so I can do more videos for you guys. So, been sweating a little bit. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, load back up here. What else about the Hudson? The basic premise, if you watch some of the interviews, like the in-range interview with Cy and Lauren Hudson, what they wanted to accomplish with this gun was their favorite guns to shoot were their 1911s, but the guns they always ended up carrying were their Glocks, because it's just a better carry gun these days, let's be honest, than a 1911. So 1911s are great. I own one. I want several more. Glock's probably a better choice for a carry gun for several reasons that I won't get into, and if you guys all hate me for saying that, well, then that's okay, I guess. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to combine kind of the form factor of a 1911 with the striker-fired action of a Glock or M&P or XDM or whatever the case may be. And I think they did a really good job. If you notice, the trigger here has a kind of an inverted Glock dingus-y thing, but, and again, we'll just make sure it's unloaded, it's a straight to the rear trigger like a 1911. It doesn't pivot on a fulcrum like a Glock trigger does. It's just straight to the rear. And the reset on this thing That's it. It's a super short reset, very crisp break. I mean, it's a great freaking trigger. I love that trigger. Again, I said the grips are made out of G10. They are not compatible with other 1911 grips. I don't know if those screws are compatible with 1911 grip screws. Don't really want to find out. But it does have a very 1911-ish feel to it. It's got the same grip angle. It's a little bit fatter. Not super. I mean, it's definitely comfortable in the hand. It's not a brick like a Glock. But it's a little bit wider than a 1911, depending on how thick your grips on your 1911 are. And I think that's about all I want to say about the outside of the gun. Let's go ahead and break it open for field strip. So you're going to take the magazine out, lock the chamber open, make sure it's empty, and then there's this button here that you have to push. And because this is recessed very well, I can't actually get it across with my thumb. Tim from the Military Arms channel has the same issue. So what he did in his video about the gun was take the base plate and actually use the polymer on there to push this button across, and it can be kind of stiff. There we go. So it goes all the way across. Flip the gun over. Now this little lever has popped out. Just rotate that 90 degrees. Let the slide go home. Pull the trigger, and the slide will come off. Now, as he said in his video, Tim from Military Arms that is, be careful because this barrel will want to fall out. Because if you notice, the recoil spring doesn't come out with the barrel or with the slide. It stays in there, and according to the manual, you should not attempt to remove it. It's supposed to just stay there. So now, we're done with this as far as field strip goes. From there, take the barrel out just like any other Browning tilting barrel style action, which this is. And voila, there's your field strip. You got your firing pin safety right there. There's your striker. Nothing super fancy or crazy about the inside of the gun, other than it's very well machined. I mean, it's put together like a work of art. It's like it's on rollers. When you pull that slide back and let it go, there's no staginess, there's no grittiness. It's just smooth as glass. It's beautiful. I just want to sit here and fondle this thing all the time because it's such an amazing feeling gun. Put it back together. Also pretty simple, mostly standard. Take your barrel, drop it in. Obviously no recoil spring to put in. And then again, what Tim did, I'm going to reference him, but I'm also going to give him credit. Hold it upside down. Probably don't do it through the camera because it makes it that much harder. Line up your rails, slide it on, and then lock your slide to the rear. Rotate your little lever up, push it across, function check. That's it. Gun's back together. Again, just beautifully smooth. Just, oh my God, it feels so good. I really can't think of much else to say about the gun. I haven't shot it yet. I'm actually going to go out to the range, and I haven't had a chance to shoot it since I got it, and it's been bugging me ever since I got it, just because with the move and everything, I haven't been to the range, and I'm getting itchy. I need some range therapy for sure. If you guys have never moved before, don't if you don't have to. Unless you live in California, then move. It is a massive pain in the ass. Moving sucks. It's stressful. I need some range therapy. But I'm going to take this thing out tomorrow, actually, with my new neighbor and shoot it. And I think I told you guys in a previous video, I think it was the P365 video, that the next time I went out to the range, I would take you guys along and do some shooting for you. Because I'm going with my new neighbor, who's a super awesome guy. I've never really been into the whole neighbor thing growing up in the country, you know, where my only neighbors were family. I'm not a big social guy. I'm not a big neighbors kind of guy. But my new neighbor is really nice. He's a great guy. He's very like-minded to me as far as security and things like that go. So we're going to go to the range and shoot. And because of that, I don't really want to, you know, involve filming and all that stuff and kind of like take away from the time of hanging out with my new neighbor and getting to know him. So I will take you guys out to the range the very next opportunity I get. I just don't want to be rude going to the range with him tomorrow because he invited me. So I hope you guys understand. But I will shoot this for the first time tomorrow, and I will report back to you guys, let you know how it does. My first impressions out of box are, it feels amazing, it looks amazing, it seems very well engineered, very well put together. One thing I'm going to have to play around with is how to put a light on it that would make sense, because that light is obviously going to stick down pretty far, because The dust cover comes down so far. I mean, again, comparing it to a Glock, you can see the light butts up against the front of the trigger guard. Well, the front of the trigger guard is the dust cover on the Hudson, so that light's going to be like down in here. Kind of, let's see if I can do a visual representation there. Kind of like that. That's what it's going to look like. So, going to be interesting for sure, but I'll figure it out if the gun's reliable for me and works well, because I like putting lights on my guns. Anyway, I think that's it. If you guys have a Hudson and you've had issues with it, or it's been perfect for you, or whatever the case may be, if you've got any experience with one, post it down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think of yours, or thought of the one that you got to handle and shoot. I think it's pretty cool. I'm super excited. Even if it does break, there are companies out there that are still offering spare parts for it, because they were subcontractors to Hudson and now they have a big surplus of parts, and they're trying to make their money back. I'm not going to get into the whole debate of who was in the wrong, whether it was Hudson or their suppliers or whatever. Not going to get into that. From what I could tell from the interviews I saw with Cy and Lauren, they seemed like really good people who just had a passion to put out an innovative and new product and to do something cool for the American gun market. And I'm actually really sad that the company went out of business, because I think if they had continued on and been able to produce more products, that everything they put out, if it had the level of quality and engineering and thought behind it that this gun does, I think they would have put out some amazing stuff. And I'm really sad that that's not going to be possible now. So that's my thoughts on the whole situation. But I'll let you know how the gun shoots. If you guys have thoughts on it, post it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. Y'all take it easy. Roll Tide. And I'll see you later.